It's time for On the Farm in Alabama, bringing farmers and agribusiness the latest news from Alabama Extension and the Auburn University College of Agriculture. Now here's your host, Alabama Extension Regional Agent, Eddie McGriff.
Good day. I'd like to welcome everybody today to On the Farm in Alabama, and today as my guest I have Dr. Scott Graham. He's an entomologist with Alabama Extension, and Scott deals mostly with cotton. He also does soybeans, but we're very fortunate to have Scott because he's one of the most knowledgeable people about this new technology that we have coming out in cotton, ThryvOn cotton, for thrips and for plant bugs. Scott, tell us a little bit about ThryvOn.
Yeah, well, Eddie, first, thanks for having me on today. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk about ThryvOn with you. So ThryvOn is a new GMO technology. It's a BT trait similar to our caterpillar traits that we're familiar with that are already on the market. What's unique about ThryvOn, as you mentioned, is it actually has activity on thrips and tarnished plant bug, which are two obviously unrelated insects, so that's unique in and of itself there. But really excited now it's going to be commercially available for the first time in 2023.
Scott, the ThryvOn technology doesn't actually kill the thrips. What does it do?
That's right, yeah, that's another thing that's unique about it is it doesn't kill thrips. They just essentially, they don't like it. They tend to avoid it or to find other hosts to feed on, so they do less feeding, which obviously means less injury to the crop, and they also lay fewer eggs, which means fewer immature populations developing in the field on it as well.
Well, thrips is one of our most damaging pests that we have. Not as damaging as stink bugs probably in cotton, but if we can have a technology that will control thrips, it's going to go a long way helping our cotton growers. We have never seen a field of ThryvOn that has to be oversprayed for thrips, have we?
That's right, that's right. You know, you think about thrips are the most consistent insect pest across the entire cotton belt. Certainly here where we are in North Alabama, they're very important, not only from necessarily yield loss, but delays in maturity. And so this technology really helps us there. And as you mentioned, with or without an at-plant insecticide, we've been researching this as a group across the cotton belt from Arizona to Virginia, and no one in between there has ever seen it need to be sprayed foliarly for thrips.
Where would the ThryvOn fit into our production? We know that some of the varieties that we come out probably aren't our best yielding. They'll keep improving these varieties as they put ThryvOn in their top genetics. But how would you fit in the ThryvOn in our production system?
Yeah, certainly. You know, that's I will take just a second to mention what you said there about the yield of it, and that's something that we see anytime we bring in new technologies. Right? It's not the trait that's causing that. It's just the germplasm. We're not quite where we want to be. We saw the same thing with our 3-gene cottons when they came out. It took them a while to be adopted. But to me, where we need to put ThryvOn, particularly in North Alabama or places where thrips are our main concern, is we need to put them in our heaviest thrips window. In most years, that's going to be our earlier planted cotton, where the conditions aren't as good, the crop's not growing off as well, and we've got some added protection there from thrips while in these cool nights where the cotton's not growing at all.
The other pest that it helps suppress, and that's tarnished plant bugs.
Yep, and very similar to plant bugs as it is in thrips. One difference though is we are still going to need in most cases to make foliar sprays for plant bugs. They like thrips. They don't eat it as much. They do less injury in it. But in general, we're still probably going to reach thresholds. Maybe in really low pressure areas we won't. But in most situations, we're still going to reach our normal thresholds and need to spray to preserve yield.
One thing we've noticed in your research is that with the ThryvOn cotton is the plant bugs are slower to grow, or their growth stage is slower.
That's right. That's right. They feed it. That we don't know if they're literally feeding less or if it's messing up, giving them a tummy ache type situation. But what we see, it has been documented in the field and in the lab and stuff, is these plant bugs don't get as big as fast. And I've been saying in meetings, if you think about just like people, the bigger you are, the more you eat, right? Well, when plant bugs are eating, they're doing damage. So that's why they're not causing as much injury or damage while they're out there, because they're physically not getting as big, so they're not eating as much.
Well, it's great technology, and we really look forward to it being in the better germplasms. And as we get new varieties, I think this technology will really find a fit with cotton growers. I want to thank Scott for being with us today on the Farm in Alabama. And if you got questions, you can give Scott or me a call or email us.